Hello. Today I am going to try to talk and try to understand the phenomena of fear, and because of that, English ma अलिकति बेसी हुन्छ होला अप्ठ्यारो कुरा रहेछ. So I feel more comfortable. So तपाईँले माफ गरिदिनु होला if नेपाली बेसी बोल्न सकिनँ भने in this case. So म सुरु गरिहाल्छु होइन. So I want to talk about fear, but I want to start with talking about like what do we want, where do we want to go, and सबै दृष्टिबाट हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ peace and prosperity होइन. So we want to have peace and prosperity. Now peace is only possible when you have freedom होइन, and freedom is only possible when you have peace. So peace and freedom, they go hand in hand, and so does peace and prosperity. तपाईँको peace नभइकन तपाईँको prosperity हुँदैन. Same like we know like in a war time and all that, like there is no prosperity. So peace, freedom, prosperity, all interlinked. तर हामी त्यहाँ जग्गामा किन नपुग्नु सकेको गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ there is a roadblock, there is an obstacle, which is the something called fear. So I'll try and explain through this talk why that is. So firstly, let's try and understand fear. So where does fear comes from? Fear comes from insecurity. असुरक्षित feeling हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ डर पैदा हुन्छ. And one of the reasons of insecurity is scarcity. So it's about survival, there's a scramble to kind of somehow or the other, if there is scarcity, that there is insecurity because you don't know whether there's enough for everybody to survive. So now some people are surviving well, some people are not. So your inequality हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ, so that's another cause of not having peace. So not having peace means again we are not being able to have prosperity. So without socioeconomic security, there can neither be peace, prosperity, nor freedom. On the other hand, without peace, prosperity, and freedom, we cannot have socioeconomic security. So त्योले गर्दाखेरि नै also one of there are many reasons हाम्रो अब सिक्किममा we have an insecurity about like influx and sudden demographic change. We feel that we can be inundated with South Asia ko the huge population, and we are just like a few people, and हाम्रो एउटा अधिकार जान्छ in the future category. So that is also in a way linked to this scarcity कि फ्युचरमा चाहिँ हामी असुरक्षित हुन्छौँ and we will not be able to survive भनेर छ. Now there's another cause of insecurity, which is एउटा त अघि फ्युचरको कुरा गर्दाखेरि about an uncertain future. So uncertain futureमा भयो एउटा त बाहिरकै वातावरण भयो, एउटा चाहिँ भित्रबाट चाहिँ you feel that you are not capable enough to survive, that you don't have the tools, you don't have the capacity कि भोलिको दिनमा म ठुलो भएर चाहिँ I'll not be able to I can't manage. So that is very much linked to our education. I'll talk about it later. And also for people who are above, like survival, for whom survival is not an issue, you realize there's no scope for you to realize your potential. There's no possibility or opportunity for growth. That can also create a sense of insecurity and fear. And that त्यस्तो खालको insecurity, when you feel that भित्रबाट नै insecure, that and there is a underlying fear, so that plays out about तपाईँको in other ways which I'll come to a later stage. तर अहिलेको लागि चाहिँ I'll get to that right now only, like when you're not sure about your capabilities, when you're not sure about your future, then एउटा कन्सिस्टेन्ट स्ट्रेस हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ इट हेज यो मेन्टल हेल्थमा तपाईँको इफेक्ट पार्छ, अर्को फिजिकल हेल्थमा पनि इफेक्ट पार्न सक्छ. मेन्टल हेल्थमा तपाईँको डिप्रेसन हुनसक्छ. यु क्यान लाइक गेट डिपेन्डेन्ट अन सब्सटेन्सेस टु काइन्ड अफ लाइक इज योर स्ट्रेस एन्ड टेन्सन. फिजिकली हेर्नुभयो भने तपाईँले द लट अफ अल डिजिजेस समहाउ दे आर रिलेटेड टु स्ट्रेस. सो वी हेभ अ कनेक्सन बिट्विन हाम्रो mental health and physical health and stress. And on the other hand, एउटा uncertainty, there's another fear, which is also fear of not being worthy of love, that you are not like good enough हुन्छ नि. So sometimes it comes from like एउटा there's a lack of a safety net, तपाईँको family emotional support पाउनु भएन होला, you don't feel like you are part of any community, and त्यसले गर्दाखेरि somehow you feel that you are looking bad on in others. Some people do grow up with the feeling that हामीले more I didn't have the wealth that other people have, and therefore like I have to somehow or the other like make up, and I have to compensate for that behavior गर्दाखेरि. So that plays out in a very ugly way in politics, which is एउटा एकदम अथोरिटेरियनिजम हुनु र एउटा अटोक्रेसी र एउटा डिक्टेटर खालके हुने चिज चाहिँ. So there is a fear about like once you come to power, there's a fear of losing power. And the other thing was there is a fear that you've not been acknowledged, Ola, or that you kind of feel that that you have not been given your due, and somehow or the other you have to compensate that with a lust for power. So that is that. And the sad thing about but it undermines the system. When you come to power, you misuse authority, you misuse the police and the law and order, and त्यसले गर्दाखेरि हाम्रो डल्लै सिस्टमै अब बिग्रेर जाँदैछ. Related to this is also corruption. Corruption पनि त्यही हो कि it stems from a fear भित्रैबाट. Either one is एउटा सर्भाइभलको fear हुन्छ कि अर्को चाहिँ होइन म यस्तो पैसा कमाएर चाहिँ म सबैलाई हेरेकै बनाइदिन्छु खालके हुन्छ नि. So that comes from a deep kind of insecurity from that could be remnant from like your childhood also. So there's another also in a social way, a fear also kind of gives एउटा स्टेटसको एउटा त्यसलाई बेसी इम्पोर्टेन्स दिँदो रहेछ कि लाइक विच कम्स फ्रम एनभी और आरिस गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ उसले अब त्यो टिभी किन्यो भने, उसले गाडी किन्यो भने म पनि अब त्यो आई हेभ टु किप अप बिकज यु आर फियरफुल द्याट यु विल लुक लाइक यु आर लेफ्ट बिहाइन्ड एन्ड यु डोन्ट वान्ट टु बी फेल्ट लाइक द्याट सो गर्दाखेरि corruption becomes, in a way, people like this are also people who don't have a profession, who don't have a core competency. They feel fearful, and therefore the only route for them is politics ma lagera alikati yata uta corruption haru garदाखेरि चाहिँ they feel that is their only route to, in a way, to status and like अरू सँगसँगै नै त्यो एउटा standard of living चाहिँ they want to keep that level for themselves. So now there's another fear cause. So I'm talking about the internal causes. There's another fear cause. Fear is also caused when somebody is mean to you. When somebody loses his or her temper on you and is angry on you, or like to an innocent person, you feel like very insecure. So there's like a power display happening. And sometimes also when you're not feeling acknowledged, like in life or for a particular work, like you feel that you've been treated unfairly and bullied, त्यहाँबाट पनि अब stress and anxiety हुन्छ. And a lot of the times these stresses, anxieties, insecurities, fear, it spills out in a very negative way. And just so like आफ्नो रिस पकाउनु क्या, like spilling out your anger on somebody else because somebody has been angry on you, and गएर चाहिँ अब त्यो चाहिँ अब त्यो मनबाट चाहिँ कसलाई अब पकाउँ नभए गएर लाइक बिरालोलाई लात हान्यो कि नभए आफूभन्दा सानोलाई गएर चाहिँ अब आफ्नो त्यो भित्रको रिस चाहिँ त्यहाँ पकायो. Means that other person is now got insecurity and fear, and like might become mean to another person. So it spreads this negativity and it spreads this anxious and anxiety खालके environment हैन, which is like अब अहिले I feel that सिक्किममा त्यही भइरहेको छ. Like we are living in this environment of fear because of all these reasons. And so why fear causes meanness हैन. So the classic case is bullying हैन, आफूभन्दा सानोलाई हेप्नु. त्यो चाहिँ जसले हेप्दैछ, the bully is the one who is the most insecure person. Like उसलाई आफ्नो सानोभन्दा to a helpless person उसको power देखाएर मात्रै he feels great about himself. So there is a psychological issue with bullying, which is, if you want to look at it in the other way, which is also in the other, governments can also be bullying, you know. Why? Because they are insecure. Like somebody like Putin, he must be the most scared people, like, you know, he can't like stand any opposition, so authoritarianism, autocracy is a result of like fear. So that's why when, you know, in a way I found a way to digest, like, because hamrai mancheharu, politicians, why are they so mean on other people, you know? Why are they like breaking people's like skulls, you know, like ke bhako yinaharu भन्दाखेरि भित्रबाट डर छ उनीहरुको के हो. So they are also like people who have insecurity. They are also people who are struggling with their lives. As as you might think that, you know, उनीहरुलाई डर छ, उनीहरुलाई सर्भाइभलकै डर छ र त्यो केटाहरुलाई, you know, त्यो गरेन भने अब then, you know, I will not be able to survive, like गर्दाखेरि अब गर्यो. But see the corrosive like effects of fear and insecurity के हो, like, so त्यस्तो त नहुनु पर्ने, I feel like. So and there's a very famous saying that the only thing that we have to fear is fear itself, you know. So when you understand this, that fear is the cause of like negativity, and fear is the cause of like a lot of the things that go wrong, that हामी डरसँग नै डराउनु पर्ने. And feudalism तपाईँले सोच्नु भयो भने, it's based on fear. I mean, fear is what keeps the system alive, you know. So that's the reason all over the world अब revolution भएर चाहिँ हामी डरको मुनि चाहिँ हामी बस्नु चाहन्नौँ. We want to be like free people, like गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ, because you wanted to be free from fear most foremost. Like even if I don't have like food in my stomach, I want to be free from fear भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ. So that's how the revolutions happened, and that's how we have democracy. And democracy is actually the antidote to fear. किनभने equality ends fear. When everybody has a place, when everybody is acknowledged, when there's nobody above or below you, there's nothing to fear from anybody. Like people will have different works, and, you know, some people might be in charge of administration, and some people might have to drive a car, but no one is above or below somebody that, you know, you can thicho-micho गर्नु पाउँछ भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ equality ends fear, and so does freedom. You know, freedom and fear, we talked about it, like they are like opposite sides of the same coin. So when you free your mind, you can overcome fear, or you can overcome fear to free your mind. So भन्नुको मतलब चाहिँ, now freedom from fear चाहिँ comes through freedom and equality, these two particular things, which is what a democracy is about. You know? So democracy ma tapaiko, what is democracy? Democracy is equality, freedom and fraternity. Ye cheez to. So in a democracy, a true democracy is inclusive of everybody. So it is fair. So there is nobody is feeling like unfairly treated, you know. So one of the causes of insecurity that you feel that there is unfairness in the system. So system fair छ भने तपाईलाई अरु शिक्षित insecure feel हुँदैन. I'm sorry about my word. असुरक्षित तपाईलाई feel हुँदैन. And the way to do that is to have clean politics, to get good people into governance, to like have a good system, to have a long-term plan, like, you know, how are our people kind of going to live, what are our values, how are we going to kind of make ends meet, हाम्रो strengths के छ. So त्यो राम्रो पाराले चाहिँ त्यसको लागि हामीलाई good governance चाहिन्छ. So we need good people in positions of decision making. अर्को कुरा छ एउटा sense of community. We have to be one people under one tent, under one roof. And त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ we get a sense of belonging हुन्छ नि, we belong from here. And एउटा insecurity is also not having a strong sense of belonging. So if we do inculcate a strong sense of belonging, so we will have a stronger sense of security, and therefore lack of fear. So community is also a very strong part of like how we deal with fear. The other thing is a fear about the future, whether I can manage on my own, or whether uncertainty about the future of your own survival or your family. गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ we want to create an environment where you can not only like provide for your family and live happily, but also that you can realize your potential हुन्छ नि तपाईको भित्रबाट चाहिँ तपाईलाई what is your calling, and what can you how far can you pursue that dream to realize, to become who you are becoming हुन्छ नि. So for me I feel that's a very important part of the future key. Everybody is able to find a place for himself or herself and pursue his own like a dream, like so. And education, skilling, finding like what you're good at, and like simultaneously our jobs also created along those lines. So there's a lot of like the development model ma. So there's a lot like to think about. But once you get that right, and we create a fair, honest, competent society, like fear will go out of the window, I feel. Like so, so people. And last, I'd like to end by also environment. Like we are in a way part of the planet, like so, and the earth doesn't belong to us, like we belong to the earth, that's a saying. So what can we do to find a harmonious balance with nature as we move ahead in our development? So I think with a small population and a place as well endowed as Sikkim, we can find a way. So एउटा नेचरसँग हाम्रो कनेक्सन हुँदाखेरि I think there is peace, and there is like a sense of security. So long way to go. I don't know whether I confused everybody more or whether like this helped at all, but to understand fear, to understand insecurity, so these are the roots of like all our negative behavior, okay? Or like so, and how do we create a society, how do we create a future which is more secure, that people don't feel insecure, they don't have to be fearful. So that's where we want to go. And आज म त्यतिमै end गर्दछु. हस्, thank you.